Hey guys! Have you seen the movie Day Shift with Jamie Foxx? Let me tell you about it. So Jamie Foxx plays the character Bud Jablonski, who is a pool cleaner by day, but a vampire hunter by night. He has a peculiar side job where he kills vampires and harvests their fangs for money. Welcome to Real Savant, where we bring you the latest in movie recaps and reviews, breaking down the film for you and providing insightful commentary. Join us as we delve into the world of cinema and elevate your movie watching experience. Don't forget to like and share our videos. Also, subscribe to our channel to get notified when our latest review video is uploaded. In the movie, we see a lower-level criminal vampire named Sasha being tortured by Audrey San Fernando, who is also a vampire. Audrey is revealed to be a powerful and wealthy real estate magnate with big plans for the Los Angeles area and its vampire population. Later, we see Bud at his apartment where he reveals he's having financial issues and is behind on rent. He takes a shower and then picks up his daughter Paige from school. Although he's technically still married to her mother Jocelyn, they live apart from each other. Bud takes Paige to a frozen yogurt place but brings her home late, and that's where the story starts to unfold. I don't want to spoil it for you, but let's just say things get pretty intense from there. If you're into the comedy action genre, you gotta check this one out. Jamie Foxx kills it, like he always does, and the whole cast is spot on. Honestly, I'm not gonna get into the technical details, but as a viewer, I absolutely loved this movie from beginning to end. So Jocelyn tells Bud that she's taking their daughter Paige to her mother's in Florida, which breaks Bud's heart. But he pleads with her to give him time until Monday so he can make some money by selling the vampire fangs he harvested. Bud visits a pawn shop owner named Troy, who only offers him a fraction of what he knows he can get for the fangs. Bud needs the money by Monday, so he texts his old friend Big John Elliott to help him out. We learned that Bud was actually expelled from a vampire hunting organization called the Union. Meanwhile, Audrey, who is also a powerful and wealthy real estate magnate, threatens her business partner not to back out of their deal. She also reveals that she has a product that allows vampires to walk in daylight. She and her henchman Klaus visit the house where Bud killed 2 vampires, and we find out that the old woman vampire was dear to her heart. She swears to take revenge on whoever destroyed her. So Bud asks for Big John's help to get back into the vampire hunting organization called the Union, so that he can sell his fangs for a higher price. They meet with the director, Ralph Seeger, who initially refuses to let Bud back in due to his past code violations. However, after some convincing, Seeger allows Bud to work the day shift, which is considered less profitable and less dangerous than the night shift. Bud and Big John then head downstairs to the financial department to get payment for Bud's fangs. The cashier, Seth, initially offers a good amount of money but reduces it to a much lower fraction after withholding several fees. Seth wants to be promoted to his superior's position and is instructed by Seeger to partner up with Bud and report any code violations that he makes. Seth reluctantly agrees, and we see that he has a vast theoretical knowledge about vampires, which impresses Bud. Meanwhile, Audrey visits the pawn shop owner Troy to intimidate him but ends up killing him. So Bud and Seth team up to take down some vampires, but Seth is a bit of a weenie. Bud has a soft spot for him though, and even helps him out when he wets himself and vomits on their first mission together. After the mission, they go to Troy's pawn shop and find him dead with all of his teeth pulled out. Bud needs the money from selling vampire fangs to keep his family, so he confronts Seth about writing him up for code violations. Seth promises not to report to Seeger. On their next mission, they team up with the famous Nazarian brothers to take down a vampire nest. They discover a new product that allows vampires to be out in the sun for a short time, but Seth notices that the nest contains several different types of vampires that wouldn't normally live together. Bud agrees, but has to leave to pick up his daughter from school. Things are getting intense in this movie. Bud takes his daughter to a birthday party, but things quickly turn sour when he receives a threatening call from Audrey. In a panic, he tries to leave with Paige, but is pursued by Audrey's henchmen, leading to a high-speed car chase. After returning home safely with his daughter, Bud is then ambushed by Audrey and her crew. I gotta say, there were some pretty cool Easter eggs in this movie. Did you catch the callback to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter with the portrait of Lincoln in the Union office? That was a nice touch. And let's talk about that car chase scene. It was top-notch. But the climax was even better. It had everything you'd expect and more. I was waiting for Snoop Dogg to make his entrance, and he did not disappoint. And that wire move? Man, that was a real crowd pleaser. Everything in the movie was perfectly sequenced, so it all made sense when it appeared. In a shocking twist, Bud reveals to his wife and daughter that he is a vampire hunter. It seems like things are only going to get more serious from here as Bud tries to protect his family from the dangerous vampires and their human allies. Bud gets knocked out, and when he wakes up, he finds out that Seth has been bitten and turned into a vampire. Unfortunately, Seth can't control his hunger and tries to attack Bud, who ends up cutting his head off. But here's the twist. Because Seth was turned by an uber vampire, cutting his head off doesn't actually kill him. As Bud makes his way back to his apartment complex, he decides to confide in Heather, who he thinks he can trust. However, it turns out that Heather is also a vampire, turned by someone named Audrey. The two of them end up fighting briefly until Heather reveals that the elderly vampire Bud destroyed was actually Audrey's daughter. She didn't become a vampire until she was old in human years. Meanwhile, Audrey and Klaus have taken Jocelyn and Paige to an underground temple lair. Heather then drops a bombshell. Audrey's plan is to flood the valley with vampires by buying up property all over the area. It's a pretty crazy plan if you ask me. So in this part of the movie, Bud, Seth, and Heather head to an abandoned shopping mall to take down some of Audrey's goons. They're doing pretty well until they get surrounded. But don't worry, Big John comes to the rescue with his minigun and mows down dozens of bad guys. Bud and John make their way into the underground compound where they find vampires working on a production facility for vampire sunscreen. They manage to take out the workers, but Klaus senses Bud's presence and alerts Audrey. As they go deeper into the lair, they get ambushed by a pack of vampires and John gets bitten. He tells Bud to go ahead and find his wife and child and sacrifices himself by detonating an explosive around his belt, killing the enemies and saving Bud. Bud is then confronted by Klaus, but Heather and Seth come crashing through the roof to join the fight. However, Klaus proves to be too powerful for them in combat. Despite the setback, Heather and Seth tell Bud to go ahead and find Paige and Jocelyn while they continue to fight Klaus. You know, these types of movies might not be flawless, but they sure are a lot of fun. I found myself laughing at the jokes and getting into the groove of the film. And let me tell you, watching Scott Adkins on screen was a real treat for me. I'm a big fan. Overall, with the killer hip-hop soundtrack and the non-stop action, this movie is definitely worth your time. Just a quick heads up though, if you're not into brutal killings, this one might not be for you. But if you can handle it, go check it out and enjoy the ride. Okay, so things get pretty intense in this part of the movie. Bud finally finds Paige and Jocelyn with Audrey, but he's not able to defeat her in combat. Just as she's about to deliver the killing bite, Paige stabs her through the heart with a wooden stake. But Audrey doesn't seem to be affected by it, and she throws both Jocelyn and Bud across the room. Meanwhile, Klaus has Heather and Seth in a chokehold, but they manage to break free by pulling his arms off. They then team up and defeat him. With the wooden stake still in her heart, Bud shoots the last silver bullet at Audrey's neck to try and finish her off. However, she catches the bullet between her teeth and runs towards Bud to kill him. At this point, Bud closes his eyes, accepting his fate, but just as Audrey is about to strike, she runs into Bud's wire trap and gets decapitated. Her severed head mocks Bud one last time before she's finally destroyed. After the epic final battle, the group heads back upstairs to the surface where they meet Seeger, who's clearly upset. He starts talking about union regulations in an attempt to get Bud permanently expelled. But Seth defends Bud and refutes all of Seeger's claims. This makes Seeger even more angry, and he tells Seth that he won't be promoted to Carol's position. However, Seth says that he's now a field man and will continue to fight vampires alongside Bud. Bud then approaches Jocelyn and asks if he can move back in with her and Paige. Jocelyn agrees, but only if they take things slow, and Bud promises to be honest with her and stop lying. She kisses him on the cheek, showing that she's willing to give him another chance. As the camera pans out to the horizon, we see Big John crawling out of a manhole. He may be alive, or he could potentially be a vampire now. The movie ends on this ambiguous note, leaving the audience to wonder what the future holds for these characters. Hey, if you're into some crazy over-the-top zombie and vampire action, then this movie is right up your alley. This gory ride takes you through the depths of Southern California and delivers a ton of fun. From the insane zombie and vampire attacks to the intense action scenes, this movie is packed with non-stop thrills. And the way it's all put together is just amazing. You really can't go wrong with this one. So get ready for a wild ride. So, if you're a fan of the horror genre or just looking for a fun and exciting movie to watch, be sure to check out Day Shift. And don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts with us below. This is Real Savant signing off.